So funny, because I was just watching one of my own videos, and it blessed me so much to encourage me to make another one. And again, I'm riding down the road, and this is probably going to be the new thing for me. I like it. But anyway, so I'm riding down the road, and after watching that video, I knew that I was inspired by the Lord in the midst of that video, because it blessed me. It was beautiful to me. It was fun, so on and so forth. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, Lord, what else could I make a video about, right? After watching that one. So I'm driving and I'm riding and I'm thinking, and I'm on this long country road, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna make another video. And so my daughter pops up in my head. And anyone who knows me knows on my videos, I always say that I'm a believer, that I love Jesus. And that's my profession of faith, is that I'm a Christian. And so while I'm thinking about my daughter and what the video that I just watched, I'm thinking about how she has to fight, right? And in the video, and I hope she ended up watching it. I don't know if she still has her Facebook page and if I'm connected or whatever the case is, but I hope she ends up seeing it. And even if she doesn't, it's nothing that I haven't personally told her myself, but I think maybe it will be a blessing to her. But anyway, so I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about my daughter, who to me, of course, I think is beautiful. I'm driving again, y'all. She's beautiful on the inside and the outside. Sometimes the problem is she doesn't know the beauty that she beholds. So I'm sitting here, and of course I'm thinking about discouragement, like having challenges in your life, right? So we've all had them. I currently have some myself, as you know, I've said in videos in the past, but I'm learning that in order for me to conquer the challenges that I have to keep my focus on Jesus. And I understand that whenever God has a work for you to do, that the enemy tries to set stumbling blocks before you so that you will stumble and fall and fail, and that you won't complete the mission that God has for you. So with that being said, I want to target this more to the younger generation. I'm a little older, and I don't profess to be all knowing and all wise, because I'm not. I've learned some things through my experiences, and because of the grace of the Lord, I've been taught some things through the Word. So thinking about challenges and obstacles that come in our life, right? So we're going to have challenges, we're going to have obstacles. That's a given. But the issue of the matter is, when having those challenges, how do you go through them? Are you more than a conqueror in these situations? Are you one to tuck tail and run or hide? Or are you one to fight? Are you one to fight? So there again, thinking about my daughter, and I'm actually thinking about a particular situation, something that's reoccurring in her life, where she's being challenged in certain situations, and then the enemy is using these situations, and sometimes a certain person. And I'm not saying that the enemy is using the person per se, but he's using that person in an aspect of getting to my daughter, right? So the intent and the motive of the person may be good, but what the enemy does after the fact is what's not good. He may not even have used the person, but he used the situation that occurred with the person to try and affect my daughter. Now y'all follow me, and remind you, this is for the younger generation, not saying that it won't bless anyone else. So to you who are your growing adults, your teenagers, you're in your adolescents, and you're going through different situations in your life and you don't know how to handle them. And you may be thinking that the situation that's before you and the people that's before you that appear to be coming against you and attacking you, you may be thinking it's them. oh, they don't like me, and they don't want to see me make it, they don't want to help me, and this, that, and the third about them. But let me say this. Have you taken time to look at you? Have you thought about you? Have you thought that maybe it's not them, that it could possibly be you? Okay, so I'm saying this, and remember I told you I'm using my daughter for an example. So she comes to me, and I sometimes think that she thinks I'm a superhero. It's a joke. So she comes to me about these situations, and she's angry, and she is her mother's child. Like, we get upset and we just get all in our emotions and our feelings, and we get all right? So she's all mad, and she's crying, and she got that look of anger and vengeance in her eyes. And you know, as a mother, I have to be humble and be rational. And listen, mommies, if you're listening, that ain't always the case, you know, because you the mommy, but you the bear, and them your cubs. So when your cubs are being bothered, the beast of the bear wants to come out of you. But as a Christian, I have to humble myself, and I have to remember that there's a greater one over the both of us, and even the situation. Now, kids, listen to me. I'm going somewhere with this. I may be a little long and drawn out, but I want you to listen, and I want you to learn. I want to love on you, and I want to help you, right? So she comes to me, and some of you may do the same thing. You run to your parents with all your issues, or you go to your friends and you gossip and you talk about it. And then let me ask you something. Why do you do those things? Why do you run to mommy when you have a situation? Or why do you run to your friends? I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just to make you think. And then I'm going to carry on, and then we'll prayerfully, by the grace of God, we'll come back to that. So she comes to me, and like I said, she's almost like, I think sometimes she thinks I'm Superwoman. She comes to me and she's crying or whatever, and you know, the beast in me wants to buck. But I'm learning that I have to let the beast sit down and let the humility stand up. So I'm listening to her, and as I'm listening, I'm examining the situation, and I realize that the situation that's occurring is not so much that she's being done wrong, but it's to work on her. It's to build her up. And so I don't know all that the Lord is trying to do in her, just like I don't know all that the Lord will be trying to do in you. But the lesson in this is that there's a video that I made right before this one, actually. In that video, I said that those of us that proclaim Christ Jesus, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, all things work together for the good unto them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. To them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose, right? So, with that being said, when things happen in your life, I'm not saying that it's never the case where people don't like you when they do things, or it's never the case that they're coming against you. I'm not saying that it's never those cases, because sometimes it could be those cases. But either way, it's all in how you handle it is what is going to be the situation, or is the thing, right? Are you going to, as I stated in the beginning, are you going to be one to stand and fight? Are you going to be one to tuck tail, hide and run? What are you going to do? Or are you going to grow from the situation? So, now, there again, using my daughter as an example. So she's crying, and then after I've listened to her, and she all in her tears and her lips all buckling, and she shaking because she's angry or whatever. I'm just tired, and she's like, I'm tired and I'm gonna just quit. And it's like, no, darling, no. So I remember a message my pastor ministered about quitting, and I told my daughter, I said, don't allow people nor the enemy to do to you what I allowed him to do to me. I allowed people, or the way people treated me, and the the essence that the enemy brought after the fact to stop me from working in ministry. Now, it's not people's fault that I chose to quit or give up. And that's just being honest. It was my choice because maybe I was too weak and not strong enough to handle all the stuff that was coming. But with that being said, my daughter, to me anyway, and it's just me talking, has a greater gift than I. And I don't want to see her do what I did. And I don't want to see her go through some of the things that I went through. So, with that being said, as she sat there in her emotions and she cried and she got angry, as some of you do, you get angry, you get mad, you get all in your feelings, and then you get to responding in words and actions the wrong way. Some of you have quit school because a teacher made you mad. Some of you have gotten off the basketball team when that could have been your scholarship for college. Some of you have stopped going to churches because the pastor offended you. Even kids as well as adults. And I said this was more or less for the adolescents and the kids or whatever, but this is for all of us. But my point for this is to say, and the message that the Lord ministered today at our ministry was about acknowledging the Lord in all your ways, and the scripture says how he will direct your path. So to go on with the story about her, I said to her, I stopped her, and not verbatim the words that I'm going to say, but these are some of the words that I said to her, and probably paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly word to word, but this is what I'm giving her. And my thing to her was, no, get out your emotions. Why you sitting there doing all that crying and that hollering and stuff, and then you talking about you gonna quit? Why are you letting people push you away from what God is giving you to do? And I told her, I said, your ministry is not unto people. Your ministry is unto Christ, unto Jesus, unto the Lord. So you're gonna let what happened run you away from what God has given you to do, when really he allowed that thing to happen to build you, not to break you. He allowed it to build you, to build your character, to make you stronger, so that your ministry, that your life will be more effective. Mostly her ministry. And I'm saying life because some of you may not understand the purpose of ministry, but in life in itself, you're going to go through things, and a lot of you have heard what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. It can make you stronger. It's not always guaranteed that it will. It's really basically how you receive it, if it's going to make you stronger or not, because it could break you. It could make you weaker because you don't build from it. You don't grow from it. You don't learn from it. You don't receive it the right way. You perceive it all the wrong way. So with that being said, I'm saying to you that don't be one to tuck tail, run, and hide. Be one to fight. Be one to fight and learn from those situations. Now, if it's things that above measure for those that need parents to intervene, then get your parents involved. But this is the key to every and any circumstance. You can always pray. You can always go to Jesus and ask him to guide you, to direct you, to be your strong tower. Instead of getting all in your feelings and quickly responding in your emotions that you're going to quit and you're going to give up and you're going to do this. People have killed other people because they acted too soon on something that happened. They have ruined people's lives, even their own, at an instant, because they got angry and offended, and they responded in their anger and that offense instead of thinking, taking a moment to pray, calming down, and be rational in your mind, in your thinking. Now, those of you who are Christians understand when I say pray. And those who are not spiritual, then this is what I would say to you. Calm down. Take a moment and think before you react. What is the best? Y'all gotta excuse me, I'm driving. And this pollen is just like, ugh. But what is the best method to take? It's like you on a road trip and the map gives you, the GPS gives you 3 directions. One may be avoiding traffic, one may be avoiding accidents, and one is just clear of everything. And you have to make a decision which one you gonna choose. And sometimes we choose it based upon time. Which one gonna get me there quicker? And that ain't always the best route. And I'm saying that to say this. When things happen in your life, what's your response? And why was your response that way? And did you take the time to acknowledge the Lord in your response? Or did you take the time to just calm down and woosah before you reacted or made a decision? You know, because the next move you make could be very detrimental. The next move you make could be the next move for the rest of your life. How many men and women are in prison right now because they made the wrong move suddenly? They went and they robbed a bank because they was having financial difficulty in their life. And, you know, and some of them took time to plan the situation out. But why did you plan to go rob a bank when you could have planned to go back to school and get a job? Why did it have to be instant? Why did you have to choose the GPS roadmap to instancy? Get me there quicker. Why? Did you think of the consequences? That maybe if you got there quicker, you could get in an accident, or you might miss gas stations, or whatever the case is. And in the case of this, is what I'm saying is you go rob that bank. Did you think about the fact that you might get caught and go to jail, prison for the rest of your life? And I'm not trying to be funny. Let's keep it 100% real, especially if you're African American. They're trying to put y'all under the jail. Now, anybody that's Caucasian that's watching this, don't get offended. I'm just being real. Y'all know me. I'm just trying to be honest. They try to bury our men and our boys. They do. So my point to you is think before you act. I'm telling myself that because I know sometimes I will get angry. Past tense. There have been times I got angry, I reacted, and boy, was it ugly. Like, she crazy. I'm not crazy. I just stupid in that moment. But even in that, I have learned, and in that, I'm able to come and I'm able to say to you, don't let a momentary situation be a determining factor in a lifetime situation. So I'm saying all that to say that think wisely. When situations come up, don't tuck tail and hide and run. Make a decision, but make a wise decision. Be a fighter, be a warrior. Put your dukes up, put your boxing gloves on, and go at it. Woo woo. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do to win the fight, to be successful. But don't be a fool in your decision making. And don't let situations that are negative influence you to make stupid decisions. There are many men and women that are sitting in prison now that are probably thinking, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. If I hadn't been with them, man, the Lord was trying to warn me. And yeah, my mama told me not to go hanging out with them boys. Or, yeah, man, I should have just got out the car and went with my first mind. But it's too late. It's too late. And some of those same men that have those same thoughts and probably are having those thoughts today are going to be sitting in prison for the rest of their life. And some of them are 6 feet deep or deteriorated, dead and gone. Some of them are burning in eternal damnation because they made a decision in haste, in anger. And not only did they destroy their lives or lost their lives, but they hurt other people in the process because their families are suffering because they're behind bars for the rest of their life. And I'm getting ready to stop talking. But I just want you to think about the decisions that you make. Why did you make that decision? And just think about it. Take your time before you make a decision to do something. The guys that you deal with, girls, the men that you deal with, women and boys, the girls you deal with, and men, the women you deal with. Come on. Be smart about it. And realizing, the world is growing cold. The love of many in the world are growing cold. Granted. But it doesn't mean that we can't be those that believe and have a love in our heart for people. So think about the decisions that you're making and the fact that the decision that you make could affect somebody else, Don't be selfish in your thinking, honey, bruh. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? And for those that are believers, You see somebody out here struggling, somebody else's kid, you don't have no kids, or you have kids, and you aggravating, you tired with your own kids, and I just don't have time to be talking to nobody else. Was that a wise decision? You could have helped somebody's life if you had taken 5 minutes out your day, your busy, so busy day, and talk to somebody else's child to help them make a decision. So if somebody comes to you and need help, don't turn them away. And don't be all stuck in yourself to the point where you can't be a blessing to somebody else. So, on that note, y'all, I'm gone. Have a blessed day, people.